We've dealt with normal distribution part 1, which was dealing with the Simon leaf plots, the frequency distribution, and the last one was histogram. And now we're going to go ahead and move on into kind of like what that histogram does and what it did and made the shape. And might have not have seen the shape or recognized the shape, but it was there. So we're going to use that histogram to help us do our normal distribution and all that great stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at this part here. First thing is normal distribution, and that is a vocabulary word. So a normal distribution is a frequency distribution that often occurs when there is a large number of values in a set of data. So a large number of data, large number. So again, our keywords are like large number, values, frequency distribution. Frequency distribution right there. That's important. Because, oops, sorry. There we go. Frequency distribution. That's in the definition, so therefore that's it. That's one of those keywords. And then large numbers. Alright, so with that, normal distribution, when we talk about the actual graph of it, the graph of this distribution is a symmetrical bell-shaped curve. And hopefully you've heard that before, the bell-shaped curve, blah, blah, blah. If you haven't, it's okay. But sometimes that people have talked about bell-shaped curves before, like in news and all good stuff. So when it comes to our normal distribution, we talk about a bell-shaped curve. This is what it's going to look like. And I want you to copy all this down. Yes, I do. And for each one of these are our standard deviation symbols. They're not O's. These are standard deviations. Again, these are standard deviations. That's what that is. So that each one of these are the standard deviation sign. Not an O. It's not an O. It's just standard deviation. The sideways B. And I'm sure people are going to be like, well, Mr. Hall, I thought that was an O. No, that's not an O, guys. It's a standard deviation. So we know X the line over, it's the mean. So no, this is the mean. And we know that this symbol right here is a standard deviation. So the mean's in the middle, directly in the middle, means always in the middle. I make sure I put that. I don't know. I might have put that in there. But mean is always in the middle. So mean is always smack dab in the middle right here. And then here we have one standard deviation, one, then we have two standard deviations, then three standard deviations. So 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 going on there. Now with this, we have a thing called the bell-shaped curve, and that's what we call the normal curve. So this symmetric bell-shaped curve is called the normal curve. It's normal. So whenever they start talking about normal distribution and normal curves on the final exam, that's what they're talking about. This curve here, this shape. And again here, the shape of the curve indicates that the frequencies in a normal distribution are concentrated around the center portion of the distribution. A small portion of the population occurs in extreme values. So in other words, remember the whole thing with frequency distribution, and we actually talked about how many numbers are here and how many numbers are there. When it came to our frequency distributions and we did a histogram, we did those bars there. Whatever one was the highest bar, that actually was like the one that had the most. So here when we talk about these normal distribution pretty much has the highest bar in the middle. And then the other bars just come down like make a nice bell-shaped curve. So the highest frequencies in the middle, like the curve that we've had before, the histograms we had before. So that's going to be important there. That's good to bring the histogram and this together so that it makes sense. So it's not just some random things we just do together. We do separately. Now here, there are positive and negative deviations that occur. So here, these are your positive deviations. These are your negative deviations. Positive, negative. Okay? So those are positive and negative deviations that occur. Now here, information is described by how many deviations they are away from the mean. So if it's 1 deviation away, 2 deviations, 3 deviations, it's always going to be described in that way. So when we deal with our work in a few minutes, or deal with our final exam or anything of that sort, it's going to talk about how many standard deviations away is it, or it's 3 standard deviations away, or 2 standard deviations away, or something of that sort. So that's how we use that. So with this, that's the important part here. I think that's all that's on this screen. No, information. Oh, there. I already said that again. I just wrote it twice, but I made it bigger here. All right, so let's go and go to an example 1, and where we actually are starting to deal with our standard deviations and all that good stuff, and make our bell curve.